Hello guys, and welcome back for another video. We continue with the update from P. Diddy's trial. And in this video we hear more explosive testimony, and this time it's from a key witness known only as Jane. Warning, this video contains some distressing and disturbing contents that some may find upsetting. Sean Combs, once celebrated for his music and business success, now faces serious criminal charges that have sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and beyond. He stands accused of some very serious charges, like transporting individuals for prostitution and racketeering conspiracy, charges that carry the potential for decades behind bars if convicted. The indictments, including two superseding ones, highlight the gravity and complexity of these allegations, painting a picture of a long-running criminal enterprise. Combs has pleaded not guilty, insisting all encounters were consensual and denying any involvement in trafficking or coercion. His defense team argues that the accusations are baseless and motivated by financial gain, while the prosecution claims to have strong evidence of exploitation and abuse. The contrast between Combs's carefully crafted public image and these disturbing accusations is stark, leaving fans and observers stunned. The case has ignited intense debate about celebrity, power and accountability, with many questioning how such alleged crimes could go unnoticed for so long. The trial, which began June 5, 2025, is expected to feature emotional testimony from alleged victims, whose accounts will be central to the prosecution's case. The outcome will test the justice system's ability to hold powerful figures accountable, and its verdict will resonate far beyond the courtroom walls. The courtroom waited, a collective breath held, as Jane, a pseudonym assigned to protect her identity, prepared to recount her experiences with Sean Combs. Her testimony is central to the prosecution's case, promising to pull back the curtain on a world allegedly governed by manipulation and exploitation. Prosecutor Maureen Comey initiated the direct examination, her questions carefully constructed to allow Jane to articulate the complex and distressing nature of her alleged involvement with the defendant. The atmosphere was charged, every word scrutinized, as Jane began to detail encounters that, according to her, were far from the consensual interactions claimed by the defense. Her voice, though perhaps strained by the ordeal, carried the weight of experiences she asserted had been profoundly damaging. Jane spoke of what she termed hotel nights, painting a vivid and unsettling picture of these regular occurrences. She described rooms suffused with red light, the air filled with music, and a pervasive atmosphere of intoxication, fueled by alcohol. A peculiar detail that emerged was the extensive use of baby oil, an element that added a strange, almost ritualistic quality to her descriptions of these evenings. These were not spontaneous romantic trysts, she implied, but rather carefully orchestrated scenarios. Her account suggested a controlled environment designed for a specific purpose, where her own agency was systematically undermined. The details, though disturbing, were crucial in establishing the context for the more serious allegations of coercion that were to follow. The nature of the sexual activities during these hotel nights was laid bare in Jane's testimony. She described prolonged periods of foreplay and oral sex, often not for her own pleasure, but seemingly for Combs' gratification. A recurrent theme, she alleged, was Combs's preference for watching her engage in sexual acts, or for masturbating during these encounters, rather than direct participation in certain conventional intimacies. This element of voyeurism, as described, added another layer to the alleged power imbalance, suggesting a dynamic where Jane felt more like an object for consumption than an equal partner. Her recounting of these deeply personal moments was delivered with a palpable sense of discomfort, underscoring the difficult nature of her testimony. Perhaps the most damning part of Jane's initial testimony revolved around explicit coercion. She claimed that Combs pressured her into sexual activities with other men, leveraging his financial support as a tool of manipulation. A chilling example provided was the alleged threat to withhold her rent payments, a substantial sum of $10,000 per month. If she did not comply with his demands, this financial lifeline, she suggested, became a chain binding her to a situation she found increasingly intolerable. The raw emotion in her voice, as reported from the courtroom, conveyed the distress and helplessness she purportedly felt, trapped in a cycle of dependency and exploitation. Beyond the direct threats of withholding financial support, Jane testified to another insidious form of control allegedly wielded by Sean Combs, the provision of illicit substances. She recounted how Combs purportedly supplied her with a cocktail of drugs, including ecstasy, molly, cocaine, and ketamine, often in conjunction with their sexual activities. This introduction of narcotics into their interactions, she suggested, served to further blur boundaries, diminish her resistance, and deepen her dependence. The use of such substances could cloud judgment and impair one's ability to give free and informed consent, a critical point the prosecution sought to emphasize. It painted a picture of a Svengali-like figure systematically dismantling her resolve. The financial entanglement was, according to Jane's testimony, a cornerstone of the alleged manipulation. Combs reportedly paid her rent, a significant $10,000 each month, and provided other cash gifts, the largest single sum being $20,000. While seemingly generous, this financial largesse allegedly came with heavy strings attached. It created a profound power imbalance where Jane became reliant on Combs for her basic security and lifestyle. This dependency, the prosecution argued, was not an act of kindness but a calculated strategy to ensure compliance and control. The money, instead of offering freedom, became the bars of a gilded cage, making escape a daunting and economically perilous prospect for her. Jane articulated a profound sense of being trapped, describing her relationship with Combs as akin to opening a Pandora's box. Once involved, she felt caught in a spiraling cycle of coercion and psychological manipulation from which there seemed no easy exit. The initial allure, if any had existed, had long since given way to a grim reality of exploitation. Her testimony aimed to convey the insidious nature of this control, not always overt acts of violence, but a more subtle, creeping erosion of her autonomy and self-worth. This psychological dimension is often the most challenging to articulate and prove in such cases, yet it lies at the heart of understanding the alleged victim's experience. A specific and deeply disturbing incident recounted by Jane allegedly occurred in Miami during May 2021. She testified that Combs arranged for her to have a sexual encounter with an escort named Don. Adding to the gravity of this allegation, Jane claimed Combs specifically insisted that no condom be used during this encounter. This detail, if proven true, highlights not only a profound disregard for her sexual autonomy, but also a reckless endangerment of her physical health. It speaks to a level of control so absolute in Jane's telling that her well-being was a secondary concern, subservient to Combs's alleged desires and directives, showcasing the extreme lengths of the alleged exploitation. The Sean Combs trial, irrespective of its eventual outcome, serves as a potent lens through which society can examine the complex and often troubling interplay of power, celebrity, and alleged abuse. The narrative presented by Jane, one of vulnerability exploited by an individual of immense wealth and influence, is regrettably not an isolated story, but one that resonates with broader patterns observed across various industries and echelons of power. It forces uncomfortable questions about the systems and silences that may allow such dynamics to fester, often leaving victims feeling isolated and without recourse. The courtroom thus becomes an arena not just for individual justice, but for a wider societal reflection on accountability. This case inevitably draws comparisons to the #MeToo movement, which has empowered countless individuals to voice their experiences of harassment and assault, particularly at the hands of those in positions of authority. The courage displayed by Jane in testifying publicly, even with her identity shielded, is a testament to this ongoing cultural shift. Trials like these, highly publicized and scrutinized, can have a ripple effect, potentially encouraging others in similar situations to come forward, while also serving as a stark warning to those who might seek to abuse their power. They highlight the critical importance of believing accusers and ensuring that allegations are thoroughly and impartially investigated regardless of the defendant's status. Prosecutor Maureen Comey's strategy appears keenly focused on elucidating the coercive nature of Combs's alleged actions and the profound psychological impact these had on Jane. By meticulously building a picture of financial dependency, alleged drug provision, and explicit threats, the prosecution aims to demonstrate that consent, under such circumstances, was an illusion. The defense, in turn, will undoubtedly work to dismantle this narrative, emphasizing Combs's denial of non-consensual acts and trafficking. The legal arguments will pivot on interpretations of evidence, credibility of witnesses, and the nuanced definitions of consent and coercion under the law, making for a complex and intensely watched legal battle. As of June 5, 2025, Jane's testimony is still ongoing, with direct examination expected to conclude by the following Monday. The courtroom drama is far from over. Cross-examination will surely test her account, and further witnesses and evidence will be presented by both sides. The ultimate verdict remains uncertain, yet the trial itself has already etched a significant mark. It underscores the long and often arduous path to accountability and the enduring societal imperative to confront and address allegations of serious misconduct, particularly when they involve those who occupy positions of significant power and public trust. The reverberations of this case will likely be felt for a long time to come. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to the channel for more updates. Thank you.